Is it?
Jai Hind, Jai Bharat, and welcome to Dev Talks. This is Adi Achint. Guys, lots to talk about with Mr. Abhijit Iyer Mitra, who probably is coming for the first time with his own name. So, Namaskar, thank you so much for coming in. And how come the surprise?
Did you presume my gender?
No, I just called your
You asked
name.
me my pronouns.
No, I just said name. Name doesn't have anything to do with gender.
Mr. Abhi.
DEI scores talk
Mr.
about.
Abhi.
Acha, oh.
Yeah,
I'll have to now. Oh, yeah, दोबारा start करते हैं, guys. Jai Hind, Jai Bharat. Welcome, Abhijit.
thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you.
कैसे हो साहब? Or whatever you
देखो,
like to call yourself.
God, I just got off a thing with Navika on
हाँ.
Times Now, a panel where this lovely lady called some Miss Bharti, I don't think she's related to Misa Bharti, but anyway, Miss Bharti from the RJD. The moment I started talking about the Gandhi galis that were given to Modi, she started screeching that this is all patriarchy, that men can't be abused.
है?
हाँ, बहुत मजा आया अभी, बहुत मजा आया.
अच्छा?
We were all sitting and guffawing, but anyway, good.
नहीं यार ये तो भेजना प्लीज बिकॉज ये तो फिर हम यूज करेगा इसको.
हाँ, just the 9 to 10 program वो YouTube पे
हाँ, हम
जाके
लोग को
देखो
बहुत
Times Now.
हमारे जैसे लोगों को बहुत गाली निकलता है तो हम यूज करेगा उसको. यू
हाँ,
कांट अब्यूज अस. पेट्रियार्की हो जाएगा.
बिल्कुल बिल्कुल.
पहले यार ये बताओ व्हाट्स हैपनिंग विद दिस कच्चतीवू थिंग. इट्स आई मीन इट्स अ वेरी इंटरेस्टिंग टाइम, इंटरेस्टिंग इवेंट. दोनों तरफ से इंफॉर्मेशन नैरेटिव. आपने भी नो लेस देन मिस्टर चिदम्बरम को ट्वीट करा कि सर वेरी पोलाइट ट्वीट है, मैं से वन ऑफ योर पोलाइटेस्ट. तो ये क्या चक्कर क्या है? व्हाट्स हैपनिंग?
What I'm going to do is I'm going to talk, but then I'm also going to send you certain things on WhatsApp, face this iMessage, जिसमें I want you to bring up certain things, put up certain images. ठीक है? और इसमें क्या है कि let's talk about Kachchativu. ये एक सेकंड मैं पहले भेज देता हूं आपको, फिर ये करते हैं.
Done, sir. Waiting for your message.
Okay, now let's start.
Hanji.
So Kachchativu, what happened was there were a lot of unsettled boundaries that went around. Okay, all the maritime boundaries were undefined. Pakistan wanted Lakshadweep during partition because they said it's Muslim majority and things like that. But it is based on geographical. One of the principles of partition was geographical proximity and this thing. And Lakshadweep is just a few kilometers off the coast of Kerala. It's thousands of kilometers away from Pakistan, so it wasn't given to Pakistan. They wanted it as a halfway. They also wanted Andamans because they wanted one to be a refueling station for West Pakistan and one to be a refueling station for East Pakistan and nonsense like that. Of course, how it's thousands of kilometers on the other side did not matter ki hai ki nahi. Anyway, maximalist demand. Fine. Now, all of these things basically came to a head. Now, you remember in Bangladesh, Modi signed an agreement where the enclaves were swapped. India lost a bit of land in that, but we got a coherent, protectable border where our population was on our side and their population was on their side. We did not have Bangladeshi exclaves and we did not have enclaves within Bangladesh. Right.
So sorry to disturb you. That thing has not come out really well because it's on WhatsApp now. It kind of bunches it down.
अच्छा अच्छा. Hang on, let me try to send it to you. और कहाँ भेजूं आपको?
मैं आपको ईमेल भेज देता हूँ. आप मेरा उसमें ईमेल कर दो आप.
हाँ ठीक है. ओके.
ओके, भेज दिया आपको. अच्छा. So interesting. Kachchatheevu का अच्छा. Okay. Because ये तो एक narrative चलाने की बात है. We will talk about that narrative towards the end of what you are explaining to us.
Yeah.
But मैंने भी.
Now,
please.
Kachchativu, there were a whole bunch of islands which were a bit this thing, because Kachchativu technically belonged to the Maharaja of Ramanathapuram. It was then the British just decided one fine day that it is going to go to Sri Lanka. Okay? Under the Sri Lanka part of the governorship. And it went to Sri Lanka of Ceylon as it was called in those days. But it was still disputed territory. Now, As per existing legal norms, what happens is, I'm going to bring up Google Maps and show you this, where exactly it lies. Kachchatheevu. Okay, let me start sharing this now. Present, share screen. ठीक है, दिखाई दे रहा है ना अब?
Yeah, yes, sir.
Okay, now let's let me zoom out and show you what is closest to it. So if you look here, Delft Island is the closest island. It actually comes under the Delft district of Jaffna, Jaffna province, Delft district. This is Delft Island. It is marginally closer to them than it is to us.
Yes.
And the measuring, you know how international measurement works, is 12 kilometers from this thing. Do we have a measuring thing here so I can show you?
Should be if you
Measure,
point it
measure
to.
distance. Okay, cool. So we will measure distance now from here to 1 second. Here to here, and it comes to 18 point so 11.71 miles. Okay, which is under the 12 nautical miles rule. Okay, now if you do the same thing here, and sorry, measure distance again, I have to click. Let's do the southernmost point here and move this here. You see, it comes just outside our zone. Okay. Now, the problem, of course, is the issue of measuring from Delft Island. This is what Indira Gandhi changed. Our claim was, this is already ours. So there is no question of measuring distance out here. Because see, if this is already ours, then technically Delft Island should also be ours because it is within 12 nautical miles.
Yeah.
So the nonsense that was done is, we accepted that this is unmarked territory and that this was the measurement point for us and this was the measurement point for them. And therefore, because this is within 12 nautical miles of them, this belongs to them.
So
Now,
we had given this up right at the beginning.
So basically, we did bullshit. Okay?
Yeah.
Now, in return, what they then accepted was, which was a this thing in 1976, they accepted that the wedge barrier, which is somewhere here, you see, this area here, this would be exclusive economic zone of India. Now, bhai, this is like saying your house Aadi is yours. मैंने कितना बड़ा काम कर दिया that I've ceded this to you. You look at a wedge bay here. How far is this from Sri Lanka? It is so close to us and so far from them. They've ceded nothing to us. Okay. Now, Indira Gandhi was very good at certain things and she was quite crappy at certain other things. So, for example, she got us Sikkim, undeniably. Okay.
Absolutely.
She split up Bangladesh.
Pakistan.
Okay, yeah, she split up Pakistan. But she also did some very stupid things. Sam Manekshaw is on record, Field Marshal Sam Manekshaw is on record saying that she got completely rogered by Zulfikar Ali Bhutto in the peace negotiations in Shimla. Multiple
Absolutely.
roger. She agreed to his demands. Then, you know, the recording of, and, you know, the naivete to believe that a recording will substitute for an actual signed piece of paper. The recording never worked in the end. That they did of Zulfikar Ali Bhutto saying, we'll sort it out, I'll cede Kashmir to you, whatever nonsense. Okay. She did that, which was stupid. She did this, which was stupid. Okay. And then when this didn't work, she felt betrayed by Sirimavo Bandaranaike because she was like, you know, oh, female prime minister, I'm female prime minister, let me settle this. She's a dynast, I'm a dynast, we're both royalty, let's settle this kind of nonsense. Sirimavo, of course, also rogered her because Sirimavo was one of the most duplicitous women around. She instigated so many riots
Very
against
smart.
Tamil like
Mm,
that.
mm,
So Indira Gandhi also responded after that by instigating the entire Tamil LTT को create किसने किया? Indira Gandhi ने किया था ना, and ultimately it killed her son. So this was this. Now the Congress will have you believe that splitting Bangladesh away from Pakistan and क्या कहते हैं इसे? Uh, getting
Sikkim.
Sikkim is somehow, it compensates, not compensates. It proves that Indira Gandhi did not get rogered by Zulfikar Ali Bhutto on Shimla, and Sirimavo Bandaranaike did not roger her over Kachati. All wrong.
Correct.
But it is a fact now that once you have ceded territory, it is established international law. Once you have signed a document ceding territory, it does not matter if your internal ratification processes have been accepted or not. In international law, you cannot reclaim that territory thereafter. Full
Correct.
stop. If you can, if you have the military force, but it's considered illegal.
Illegal.
That is the whole argument over Eastern Ukraine. Nikita
Kind
Khrushchev
of.
signed it over to Ukraine. You also accepted the independence of Ukraine. Now you can't claim it back after that. Okay? So this is the crux of the argument. So what these Tamil parties doing to court and all of that, this is just bullshit, tamasha. Now, all these guys are saying in response to an RTI in 2015, you stated this to be fact. You backed up Indira Gandhi on this. Now, I tweeted out the response. If you bring up that tweet, quote tweeting, what's our man's name? Chidambaram.
Yeah, 1 sec, I'll just get it out.
And this was in early 2015.
1 sec, it'll be out in a second. I have to just get rid of the cartoon images on your profile first.
Yes.
And yeah, continue. I'll just find this tweet. It's gonna take me a second. So he'll.
So what happens is, 2015, the government said this in an RTI. But before that, in July, which was the Modi government, it was about a month because they won the election, I think, on the 2nd of May or say mid-May, end May, whatever.
Yeah.
They won the 26th May, I think they won the election in 2014. Slightly over a month plus few days after that in court. Also, before this 2015 RTI is cited, in 2014 July in court, which is the image you're going to bring up, they also said the exact same thing. So there are two representations by the Modi government now, one in an RTI and one in this thing in court on this issue that Tamil Nadu, that was being litigated in Tamil Nadu. Now, what is the basis of this? I want to, have you got the tweet?
Yeah, I'm just looking for that. There's just so much with Mr. Kejriwal also occupying a lot of your timeline. It's kind of difficult to find that.
Sorry.
But I'll put it up. Why don't you continue? I mean, I'll just get it up in a
That's
second.
important because let me find it. I will just bring it up. And
Sheila Bhatt. Because I read what you said, and you've asked a very relevant question. And as a matter of fact, one of another person had said that you have. Yeah, I got it. I'm going to put it up. Another person had also said that you have to be a complete knucklehead to kind of accept what. Here we go.
now, if you zoom in on the first photo of Jayalalitha, zoom in on the top, please, the date, which I've marked in red. See, it is July 3rd, 2014. Okay, if you come down a bit, taking strong exception to the center's affidavit in the Madras High Court, which said Kachchativu Island was a settled matter, Tamil Nadu Chief Minister J. Jayalalitha, blah, blah, blah. Now, notice what I have marked in red. Perhaps the counter affidavit had been prepared and approved by the previous UPA government, and the matter was not brought to your personal attention, Ms. Jayalalitha said. Do you know why? because none of these affidavits and things ever go to the Prime Minister. This is a joke to take to the Prime Minister, because anybody who knows international law will tell you this is now not renegotiable. You cannot get Kachchativu back as per
Yeah.
international law, period. What was this based on? Now you show the image that I've emailed to you.
Yeah, 1 second. There we go.
Look at the date here. It is 18th February 2013. इसमें लिखा नहीं है. I've cut it off.
नहीं,
Shit, I
it's there
should.
in the red. It's
It's there.
18th February
2014. Sorry,
2014.
18th February 2014. This was when Manmohan Singh was still in power. Kachchativu was not ceded to Sri Lanka and can't be retrieved. They accept that Kachchativu is verbatim. It is what the UPA government said, which was never taken up to the Prime Minister's level, because this is usually not even dealt at the Joint Secretary level. The responses to RTI and crap don't even reach the Joint Secretary level in the MEA. It is done at the Undersecretary level, not even at the Director level. So this was the original thing which the UPA put out. They had actually submitted this 1 or 2 years before, in 2012 or 2013, I forget. They had submitted the same thing again. Based on that, this was done. Based on this, the 2014, so in 6 months again, in court, the center represented it. And then when the RTA was filed by RTI, do you think her RTI goes up to the Prime Minister? Are you kidding me? Court case goes up to the Prime Minister. Yeah, especially a joke of a case like this. Yeah, a low level, a first year student in college knows that this case is bullshit. It's being done just to
whitewash.
Exactly. So, aapne kyun ye sab bola? Then, if the government says something else, has Modi said we're getting it back? No, because he's very clear on international law, you can't get it back. He said you gave it away, which is true. You gave it away. Yeah. Then you claimed it wasn't this. Then what the hell are you blaming us for? We have to then take your position, no? If we don't, then they'll say, oh, you're trampling the legacy of Indira Gandhi. It is an insult to her and her wisdom and whatnot nonsense. See, this is the same as Kejriwal. You arrest Kejriwal before the election, you're trying to carify the election. You are scared and you are trying to hobble the election. If you arrest him in the election, they'll say, oh, ye tanashahi ho raha hai, he has already won and therefore you're not doing it. After he loses in July 2024, if you arrest him, they'll say this is vindictive politics. Kuch bhi. So, this is the kind of bullshit we have to... And, the problem is, I'm sorry, but the Indian public doesn't bother researching stuff properly.
No.
I should have actually... I was so caught up in Kejriwal and things today because I was getting so much information from so many different sources, so I couldn't put this up, but I should have put this as another rejoinder to Chidambaram. So anyway, I will do that tomorrow. But anyway, if I remember, if there's no new fun stuff happening. But anyway.
So what's up with him? What's happening with him? I mean, his international connections seem to have dumped him. The national connections are also dumping him. The national connections. वो जो बड़े साहब हैं.
कौन?
बड़े साहब, द डाइट वाले, हाउ अ प्राइम मिनिस्टर बिहेव, बुक पढ़ने वाले, एक ही है ना सर?
Oh, Keju. So Keju, I'll tell you what's happening. First, do we all understand what? Can you run a poll if our viewers understand what the hell the liquor scam is?
nahi, I think most of the guys have seen your show, so I've seen discussions happening on that. Your explanation was pretty good.
Okay, ठीक. Now, in all of this, what has changed? Why was Kejriwal? See, the thing is, Manish Sisodia signed off on the document. Yeah. All the people who had been arrested thus far were people who had been signed off on the document, and therefore they were directly complicit in the policy that came about. The issue was, how do you prove the link to Kejriwal? And this is where Vijay Nair comes in. Till May 2023, Vijay Nair was being very defiant in court, saying, ye karo, wo karo, ye political vendetta hai. Between May and September, clearly, whatever the conditions of incarceration and whatever got to him, I oppose this kind of, detention without conviction. It's a very nasty thing to do to people. you gain nothing from it except, it's like Japanese hostage justice, basically,
Hmm,
where,
hmm.
you hold people till they confess, kind of thing, which became very popular when Carlos Ghosn got
Yeah.
the Renault Nissan ka CEO, when he was kept in jail and then escaped jail and all of that. I don't like it. I think it's a perversion of the law. Anglo-Saxon justice mein to ye hona hi nahi chahiye. There has to be the presumption of innocence, not of guilt. But anyway, so what ends up happening out here is Vijay Nair turns sometime in September. By September, it is confirmed that he is a government approver.
Hmm.
And he starts giving out all the details कि मैंने फोन पे ये फेस टाइम किया था अरविंद केजरीवाल और साउथ ग्रुप के बीच में, in which everything was decided, etc, etc, etc. He was meant to meet, but he skipped the meeting because, Kejriwal never signs any paper himself.
Fine.
And all his chelas think he was doing this to empower them. They didn't realize he was doing it to implicate them. ठीक है, तो I mean, उनकी शक्ल से ही पता चल जाता है कि भाई कितने चूती हो तुम लोग. Then what ends up happening is कि Vijay Nair places everything. They've apparently got the telephone placements, the tower placements within about a few meters of each other, of all the telephones being there, etc., etc. That these meetings did happen, that these calls did happen.
Wow.
Do you know Apple has, yeah, so Apple has given the keys to CBI, not to ED. Now
ये
ED
बड़ा
wants the,
interesting है. Apple says
yeah,
no, we won't open it.
but they've
बड़ा
given the
यार.
keys to CBI.
Hmm.
They're refusing to give it to ED because they believe that ED's powers are fundamentally violative of the right to privacy, which they're correct about. We should applaud Apple for that. Except in China, they don't maintain those standards. Whatever the Chinese
Yeah.
government asks for,
So,
they don't do that. Okay. But here, they are like, we'll give it to CBI because then you can't misuse. ED will misuse, which is also a very fair point to make, right? CBI doesn't have the kind of extrajudicial powers that, or quasi-judicial powers that ED has.
So that's wink, wink,
So,
smile, smile, and we can get it done.
right. So then in September, he turns approver. On October 23rd or 26th, I forget, is when the first summons to Kejriwal gets sent out. Now, this is where the fun begins. The government was also more than willing to play hopscotch with Kejriwal. हम तुमको समझ भेजते रहेंगे, तुम आना. Okay. Whoever advised him, I guess it was Abhishek Manu Singhvi, brilliant job. They realized it was working and they went on at it. But then they made a mistake. They were the ones who approached court for relief. Okay. Now, if ED isn't coming and arresting you, you
Why
should
you
feel quite
taking leave?
right. But you then approach court for anticipatory bail and shit like that out of the blue, and the court says no. Now, why will ED not use that to their benefit? It has nothing to do with the elections. It has to do with the fact that Vijay Nair turned sometime between May and September. September is when we can confirm the date.
Yeah,
The
वो
only
उसका आया था
paper,
30th September.
yeah.
Hmm.
So, in September, all the papers start reporting he's turned approver. And then in January, for the first time, he's also given bail on medical grounds. Technically, on PMLA, under Section 45, you cannot get bail, but he gets bail on medical grounds for 8 weeks for a surgery. किस चीज की surgery पता है? Guess.
Don't tell me a vasectomy.
Close. Guess.
I don't know, prostate.
Hemorrhoids.
Oh, freak.
Stage 3 hemorrhoids, यानी कि piles. यानी कि हमारे हिंदी व्यूअर्स के लिए बवासीर, जहां पिछवाड़ा थोड़ा फूल जाता है. तो उसके लिए he gets his this thing. Very good.
Amazing.
Amazing. So I don't know if he's back in jail because I think the 8 weeks are up. 8 weeks is what, 2 months, no? तो वो मार्च में
months,
खत्म हो जाना
approximately.
चाहिए था. Anyway, I don't know what's happening with him. So all good. So he gets his bail. Arvind Kejriwal is arrested. That's
Let me ask
basically
you
what's
this point blank. Let me ask you this point blank. Is there a coup in the party now with the guy coming out? Because
yeah.
see,
So I'll
the
tell you what
problem is, if I may just take 10 seconds, there's an international support that this bugger is getting. Of course, there's a lot of funding and this and that. We all know that. I've covered that pretty deeply on the channel. That is there. Now, has he been dumped or what?
No, no, no. So let's be clear about one thing. You see, I think the government of India is getting overly sensitive about what America and Germany said. See, because they were asked questions, what did they say?
By whom?
That
By whom?
there is the rule of law. When you're asked a question, you have to answer it. No, that is the
Yeah,
way
by
those
whom is
German.
also another question, because that guy was a
And by
Jamaat
whom?
chap.
So I'm not going to go into that because that's been adequately covered. The BNP's
Yeah.
Khalida Zia's left testicle or whatever he is. Uh, I mean, she was at his wedding. I
Yeah,
mean,
yeah.
he looks impotent from his face. So, पता नहीं fake शादी करवा दिया होगा
Oh,
उसका.
yeah, yeah. बहुत connection है.
Anyway, so leave that aside for a minute. The interesting thing is the response. What do they say? India has appeals and processes. We hope that he will be entitled to all of them. It's like, if somebody tells me that Adi has been arrested, what is your comment on it? We say, India has a judiciary. Adi has several avenues to appear for bail and etc. etc. We hope he
Yeah.
avails it. Okay. Is there criticism? No. Have they said the process is? And we got overly touchy. I think we were the ones who made it an issue. I think that was actually election driven because you wanted to point out that
That
this fellow is getting foreign support when in fact he was not. इसीलिए the Americans were summoned the first time, but the next day that same idiot was asked the question again, and he again said the same thing.
नहीं थोड़ा सा it was a little softer.
Yeah, but the Germans, I know for a fact, Christian, the guy who was actually shown on TV the second time round, which is Germany beats a retreat. Germany did not beat a retreat. Christian's a very good friend of mine. He has two adopted Indian kids. He's adopted two kids from India. He's a lovely human being. Loves India. He put it in correct context, which he said, I've lived in India. India is a rule of law country. They have very good systems of justice. I disagree with him out there. I don't think we do, but anyway. And he's free to avail whatever legal avenues are open to
Processes.
him.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay. So he said it in a way that appealed to Indian sensitivity, where India can't protest even if it wants to.
Softer.
The other
It
guy
was a
who's
bit
not
softer.
India didn't get it. But anyway, this is Tamasha. The main thing is, Timothy McGee, hernia. No, piles is not hernia, Babu. Hernia is different.
No.
Piles is different. Yeah, two totally different things. But anyway, so so that was the international reaction. He is not getting international support. Let's be very, very clear about it. Okay.
Not at the moment. That's why I'm saying, is he dumped? Seems like
I
they've just
don't
let him die.
know. He's not. See, dumped by who is the question?
That
Dumped by
is.
who is the question? Uh, uh, State doesn't particularly care for him. Atishi Malena is caused celebre because we had that stupid woman who has now become the US ambassador to Philippines, serving as the deputy ambassador out here, who was a complete affirmative. Nobody even in state likes her, by the way. Total affirmative action Dumbo. Whereas the previous Charge d'Affaires, Atul Keshup, is very, very
Not,
well
not
liked in.
interested. Yeah.
Yeah, he's not interested in this bullshit. He's only he's a technocrat. He's a career diplomat, and his entire thing is work, work, work. How many business deals can I score? How much business can I bring into America? How much change can I make in the defense relationship so that India and America are conjoined twins, etc., etc., etc. He's only concerned about that. He doesn't give a shit about. He will never see a photo of him with film actors or TV actors or singers or whatever. He has no time for that. Just like the ambassador before that, Ken Juster, he had no time for that.
Hmm.
Rich Verma maybe used to do 10-15% of that, but he's a completely professional technocrat. I don't know why our people are going apeshit at him because of that funding atheism promotion in Nepal or whatever.
Nepal.
Because he's actually a very good guy. He's done a lot for the relationship. And even before him, Blackwell. Okay? And Blackwell was hated at the embassy out here because he changed the entire culture of the embassy, which was all bloody cultural diplomacy. He said, no more bloody cultural diplomacy. You are not going to go meet all these NGO types. You're only going to. He started budgeting people's time, saying, if you have not brought in this much contracts for American companies, I'm going to write nasty things in your report. So they hated him for it. Okay? But he was the guy who brought home the bacon. Let's be clear about it. So this is the kind of, but the Soros network and shit like that, they would continue supporting this bugger. They would have paid for that Bangladeshi journalist to ask that question. Who you think a Bangladeshi journalist has the kind of revenue or resources to live a full-time life out there in Washington DC of all places?
And
Nahin.
he's
So
he's been thrown out, by the way. He's exiled.
so he must be claiming refuge or whatever shit. But anyway, good for him.
But
Now,
he's on the payroll of the state, yeah. That's the beauty.
yeah, but which state? That's the question.
State
See?
Department, US State Department.
Is he on the payroll?
He's got a fellow something. I'll send you this thing. I got
Okay.
some spicy
See,
details about him.
so it's fine. But let's be very clear about this. Kejriwal's goose is cooked. The moment our man Vijay Nair decided to squeal, Kejriwal knew his days were numbered. Now the question is, today, they have in fact said the AAP as a whole, it was breaking news at 7 p.m. AAP as a whole has benefited from the crime. In which case, they might even be de-recognized as a party and they will not be able to use the uniform symbol throughout the elections.
Sheesh.
Yeah.
Imran Khan
That could
style.
happen. Yeah, Imran Khan style. They'll all have to contest his independence. Okay.
Interesting.
Yeah. Second is what happened today in court. What happened today in court was that Sanjay Singh, now, other than Manish Sisodia and Arvind Kejriwal, Sanjay Singh is the other third guy who has a connect on the ground with the people.
Teesra
He
banda.
does. He's the Teesra Banda. Manish is in jail. Kejriwal is in jail. The party clearly needs somebody else. I suspect he's a Trojan horse because Atishi and Saurabh can't stand him. ठीक है, ये कुछ ना कुछ करने के लिए ही भेजा गया है उधर. Personally, I suspect the party will split between the Punjab party and the Delhi party. And because Bhagwant Mann is thrilled.
Bangla pa raha hai.
Because you see, Raghav Chadha was the viceroy out there.
Yeah.
He had to listen to Raghav Chadha on everything. And Raghav Chadha जाके केजरीवाल के पास चुगली करता था. Now, where Raghav Chadha is, I have some reliable sources tell me Raghav is expected back in Delhi tomorrow or day after. But you know what happens to pretty boys in jail. I think he's shit scared of going to jail and he's not going to come back. And Atishi Marlena, in her press conference today, named Raghav Chadha.
Yep.
She
Now
literally put a
that's
target
interesting.
in his head.
Yep. That's
Okay.
very interesting.
And who else? Durgesh Pathak? Who?
Yeah,
Is he
one,
or
this
that?
guy, herself, Raghav, and that other so-called proponent for the next chief minister.
Yeah. So Saurabh, her, the other guy, and Raghav, she's put a target on their head. The other two weren't even named in the court proceedings last week. She put the target on their head. So now he's not, I seriously do not think he's going to come back voluntarily, but he may come back. My sources are telling me he'll come back tomorrow, day after maximum. A lot of sources are telling me, so it must be right? Agar 3-4 log bol rahe hain, I mean, almost 6-7 people have told me that he's decided to come back tomorrow or day after. So must be ठीक. Now, अब क्या होता है कि Sanjay knows all the ground. Do you think he's going to get Atishi and Saurabh run anything right now? No. So बहुत मजा आने वाला है अगले 5-6 महीने रहिए. मैं तो I am going to have fun, boss.
नहीं, but आपका your best friend is also got caught. ED, ये ED वाले बड़े खराब हैं यार. वैसे आपके best वो क्या आप सुश्री जो हैं वो.
I'll tell you what. Honorable Sushri, please don't be patriarchal.
My apologies.
Honorable Sushri ji, Sakshat Durga Dashapraharadharini. She only claimed, no, I am Durga and this guy is Mahishasura. So yeah. So when she herself has said it, who are you to doubt? Hashtag believe her.
बड़े लोग.
बड़े लोग. So বড় লোকের বেটি গো লম্বা লম্বা চুল তোমার মাথায় মতে দেব লাল গেঁদা ফুল. Do you remember that? But anyway, क्या बोल रहा था मैं, हाँ, तो उस पे भी केस लगा है, एंड इट इज अ पीएमएलए केस, सो हर अरेस्ट इज नाउ इमिनेंट.
Imminent.
4th April is the last day, I think, to file nominations. 4th or 6th April, I think. So ये तो नॉमिनेशन के पहले ही उसको अरेस्ट कर लेंगे, because now that they filed the charge sheet, it's not an FIR, they filed the actual charge sheet.
You know what's
It's a PM.
intriguing? What's intriguing about this gentleman to me is that he was in the center of all the protests, supporting, financing, ye wo. He had the biggies in terms of Soros and all these guys behind him initially. Then he had an interesting character as his aide, you know, and I put that person's profile out, and the profile went gayab from Twitter and LinkedIn within half a day,
Are you serious? Vijay
right?
Nair?
No, no, no. There's a guy called AM. मैं आपको बाद में बताऊंगा. मैं आपको मैसेज कर देता हूँ.
हाँ,
Uh,
प्राइवेट चैट में डाल.
हाँ, so that thing just went off. ठीक है.
हम्म.
And that guy, by the way, he had done this thing in the State Department, a stint in the State Department after he was the convener of, the India Against Corruption, and he's the private aide of Mr. K. ठीक है. So this is what I'm saying. There is a connection. कहीं ना कहीं है ये. कुछ ना कुछ है. There is a game which is being played from the outside, and I did put a finger on it very clearly when I did my expose, and it kind of came out pretty interesting. I said, "यार ये अच्छा है." And the minute I found this, I'm like, this is kind of the shot in the dark.
No, he's still on Twitter under the name
He's still
Akshay.
he's removed everything.
No, he still
He's
put
remo-
State Department. 1 second, let
yeah,
me.
yeah, yeah. He had a lot of other stuff written there. वो सब गया अभी. And आप LinkedIn पे जाके देखो. इसका तो पूरा स्टेट डिपार्टमेंट में इसने किया क्या है वो सब भी है. Yeah, okay, I'll put it up.
ठीक है.
Yeah. So this I thought this. I saw this, and you won't believe it. The funny thing is, the next day everything was removed. Okay, so there is something. It's not all clear. There is something.
कुछ तो है.
Yeah.
And you remember, I've been saying this for the longest time, that the Biden administration is going to be a disaster for India. It's not that Biden is. See, if Biden were a coherent president, he wouldn't be allowing this
Biden
shit
is
to
damn good. It's the other guys.
Exactly. It's all the little woke shits. Now, I don't care if he's a corrupt president. That has nothing to do with me. You can be corrupt. If you do well by India, I'm very grateful to you. I will touch your foot. तो उसका हंटर का क्या प्रॉब्लम है? I don't give a shit. My opposition to him comes from the fact that he's not coherent enough to be able to control state and all the wokery that's happening within state.
Yep. Nuland and this and that. I mean, you see the kind of stuff that they did with Nuland and all these guys, what all they did.
And did you see the Eric Garcetti interview with Smita?
Yes.
Because Smita really bitch slapped him. He came off as fundamentally clueless and not knowing diplomacy or politics or anything.
Or the news. He said, "Oh, it's not crossed the line till now." Huh? What's wrong with you? Anyways, let's get into the questions, guys. Please like the show, subscribe to the channel, and spread the word about Dev Talks. You guys have to pull us through to 200K by the end of the month. So please hit the like button really, really hard. Right? So do that. And of course, you can contribute towards the Dev Talks channel using the QR code, PayPal for the guys who are staying outside, or you can use the super stickers or super chats or the membership way. Let's get into the questions. Sabse pehle, Sudipta Patra. Thank you so much. He says, Abhijit and Aadi sir, let's suppose India is able to develop a technology like Iron Man suit. What would be the reaction of West on our success? Not happening anywhere, I think.
Yeah, look, see, let's be realistic. Okay. Technology builds on technology. You can't start from 0 and get to 100. This only happens in movies and labs. There's that famous movie, Peter Sellers movie, The Mouse That Roared, where this guy who's developed the greatest bomb and this nondescript country, which is meant to be Liechtenstein, I guess, invades America, grabs the bomb, and then America surrenders to it. ऐसे नहीं होता है, boss. So let's be realistic about this. Next.
But it'll be fun to fly an Iron Man suit. Bua, thank you so much. Did you see that the delivery guy in Ukraine jump? That jump thing. I'll send you this damn video, guys. We must check this out. There's a delivery guy crossing the Dnieper on this unparked jump sort of a thing. You just jump on it, and the damn thing kind of has wings underwater, and it kind of flies up. It's pretty cool. Thank you so much. It says BJP should have to be worried about Rathi coming. Who's Rathi? Oh, that guy. Okay. Oh,
वो
okay.
क्या
Something that we all
उसका
should. No, something all YouTubers must aspire to be.
क्या डॉक्टर साहब क्या कहते हैं उसे? There's some know-it-all term in Hindi, you know.
I've never seen the guy's shows. I find him. एक तो ये करके जो बात करते हैं ना ऐसे से करके वो ऐसे this thing वो I somehow I get the heebie-jeebies when I see that.
दुग्गल साहब
Google साहब. Somebody who does this, right? I get the heebie-jeebies when I see somebody talking like that. So वो हमेशा ऐसे करके बात करता है. I'm like, no.
So you see
This is
Duggal
good.
Saab
This
who
is
has
not.
come. Duggal Saab who has come right now. For him, look, Dhruv Rathi is who people who are already sold on the cause
Yeah.
go for self-reinforcement.
Yeah. True.
Okay. He does not change the mind of the undecided.
Yeah.
He only reinforces the belief of the decided.
It's an ecosystem he serves.
He is not a preacher, he is an inquisitor. A preacher converts. An inquisitor sees to it that the flock stay faithful.
True.
So the BJP has really nothing to fear about him. Next.
Dr. MPC, thank you so much. AIM, the sheer lines in the continental drift are finding new oil in the coast of Guyana. Could there be a large oil deposit in the REEZ?
No idea.
There's something that was found, although that was very interesting. Rahul Lakshmanji, thank you so much. Says cancel FCRA, need money, liquor scam, arrest, release. Sanjay Singh, AAP splits, game, set and match.
Kya?
Cancel FCRA, they need money, they do the liquor scam, they get arrested, release one chap, AAP splits, game, set and match. Could be, you never know. Mota Bhai is known to do weirder things. M. Shastri Saab, thank you so much. Is BJP trying to force AAP into a position where AAP's own faction breaks the party? Are we going to see AAP Atishi faction and AAP Kejri and Chadda faction?
I don't know what how the chips will fall, but I know they are heading towards a major breakup split of some kind. It's impossible to tell. You see, it depends on so many variables.
That's true. A viral, I don't know how would you pronounce that. I'm sorry if I mess it up. Thank you so much. Abhijit, do you think people like Raghav Chad, okay, will survive a day in Tihar? Might have to hold on to the soap real tight. Don't drop that soap.
So he will survive. I'll tell you why. Because he's a Rajya Sabha member. He'll be given grade A accommodation, which will be an individual jail cell and
private bathroom,
attached bathroom and things like that. The question is, apparently I'm talking to a lot of the press who cover AAP. And they're telling me these people have gotten so used to AC and things like that they won't be able to survive without AC, without Western toilet and, things like that. So it's very problematic for them. But look, Manish Sisodia survived so long in jail, but he's always been a ground connect kind of person.
Very sad, yeah. You can't expect people to survive without AC and Western toilets. Yeah. Come on, I mean that's human rights violation. UN ko bulao.
AC bhi nahi hai. This is something that is my pet hate. Why should jails be unhygienic?
That too, absolutely correct.
I think that is a form of torture.
Yeah.
So hygiene, odor, all of these need to be quite strictly maintained. I mean, we don't.
You've been there, been in the clink as per se. How was your?
I know. I was in the Sharda Chit Fund MP's VIP cell. Okay, huh. But still, the smells were horrible because Jharpada jail is surrounded on 3 sides by an open nala. and there's an open nala separating the general population from me in the VIP jail cell. And the stench was unbearable. The mosquitoes were industrial.
Mosquitoes
Hmm.
is fine. You can live with
No,
that.
no,
But
no. Trust me, they're not. You realize that how fine they are not when you get industrial style mosquitoes like that. Trust me, no amount of good night, should night is getting rid of those mosquitoes. Huh? Very
yeah.
honestly. Yeah. So I'm not. There are certain things which I think should be changed, but I don't know. The ED, from what I'm hearing, ED believes that Raghav is the easiest nut to crack. He's the one who's going to start squealing the quickest because he's been accustomed to the high life since he was born. Or, well, the medium life, which has now become the high life. But even the medium life was, his house and things were much posher than anything allocated to Arvind and Sunita Kejriwal.
No, but the guy is married to Bollywood, yeah. So
Yeah, so he's clearly accustomed to good things.
Dr. MPC, thank you so much. Once again, he says your opinion on creating nearshore submerged grid mooring system fisheries for high income fish area like fish like tuna, reduce population and free from far land. I don't know where you've given the suggestion. I'm not aware of this. Your opinion on
I don't
creating
know
near
about this.
shore. I am also sorry, man. I'm not aware of this. Bharti from the
I
south, thank you so
I
much.
I haven't done fisheries for a long time, but I'll tell you what.
Mm.
India's fisheries and global fisheries completely India's fishery is particularly unsustainable. Okay, because we catch all kinds of shit and we completely wreck ecosystems, our own ecosystems. And Japanese trawlers, the Japanese bribe the Indian government every year to a huge extent so that their trawlers monopolize all Indian Ocean shipping. Okay, you need first of all an international treaty on shipping, on fishing. Sorry, not shipping.
Fishing.
Second, you first need to figure out what are the kinds of fish that Indians eat. Start having very strict measures on net sizes like the EU does so that people don't catch small fish and engage in unsustainable practices. You should not even be selling fish like rohu, river fish like rohu hilsa during breeding season. There should be strict bans on that because it is completely unsustainable. And for now, only the coastal areas eat sea fish, and even in Bengal, the coastal areas do not eat sea fish. They prefer river fish. Odisha
Yep.
as well. But the southern coastal areas and the western coastal areas do eat sea fish. They will eat about 10 to 15 kinds of fish, which I think you need to have ocean farms where you keep farming them within the ocean, like, floating platforms like oil rigs and things where you can yekarofy them instead of doing general population. I think we should keep expanding our EEZ simply to exclude fishing from there because this is completely, the way fish is going is completely unsustainable.
Actually, around the world, it's not. I mean,
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Around
around
the
this
world.
around this part of the world, it's crazy. The way China is doing is like bloody stupid.
Same.
Bharti from the south, thank you so much. He says stop blaming CIA or other countries. It's our country and land. We need to do whatever. Do first. Bharti behind you. Forget about the politics. Absolutely correct. जिसको टंग करना है उसको करके सीधा करो. Timothy McGee. Man, that's a dangerous name. Thank you so much. What will be the implications of Finns joining NATO? The Arctic War?
Finns are the stupidest people I can think of.
Yep.
They were the one
Swedes and
country
Finns.
that had a fantastic relationship with Russia, historically with the USSR as well. Kekkonen, who was the guy who set up that unique system for Finland, used to be only guy who could go literally, he could poke Stalin in the ribs. Do you know that?
Yep. Yeah.
He used to go poke Stalin's tummy and things like that and crack jokes with him. And that
They
was
were
the
very,
only
very
person,
close. Mm.
very close. Okay. And Russia has always maintained its treaty obligations to Finland. Absolutely. This is the problem of starting to think that you are part of the European whole. This collectivization of security. Collectivization is never a good idea.
Absolutely.
This collectivization of security thought means that you think things that happen to Estonia, Latvia, Lithuania, and Ukraine will happen to you. And we're not even sure it will happen to Estonia, Latvia, Lithuania. They had their own politics, which the Finns didn't understand. And this particular prime minister right now, he's been an asshole since he was foreign minister, Staub. Okay, Staub actually makes that Sanna Marin look intelligent by comparison. Staub lives for Western validation. His entire,
Yeah.
and this is, this, I keep saying, stop looking for white man validation.
Now,
In Staub's case, he's also white. I mean, he's almost unhealthy, leukemic white, but he looks for validation.
वो थोड़ा extra
So,
है.
thoda extra hai. So, anyway, best of luck to the Finns. I think they've made a huge, monumental mistake because none of the realities that apply to Estonia, Latvia, Lithuania apply to Finland. None of the realities that apply to Ukraine apply to them. Poland, you can say, is outright paranoia, but it's actually very smart paranoia. I support the Poles in this because they played a fantastic game. They went on talking up the Russia threat so that the EU, they would get into NATO. After they got into NATO, they started using their NATO veto to coerce more money out of the EU. And then they got into EU and went on extracting more and more and more money for them in order to develop defense capabilities to fight the Russian menace. And the Poles in private are the most understanding of the Indian position on Ukraine.
Yeah, I
All
know.
the public stuff.
They want money and they don't want these refugees. That's it. They say, "Boss, बाकी
Very
तो
clear
कर
about
दो."
it. Very clear about
Okay.
it.
I
Good
know,
for
I know.
them, man.
Yeah. I
Latvia,
have some
Lithuania,
friends. They said
Estonia
this
have
very
also done
clearly.
so.
Yeah.
Latvia, Lithuania, Estonia, Poland have done something very smart. Finns and Swedes have done something very stupid.
Stupid. True.
Best of luck to them. It is not my problem. It is your problem. You deal.
I don't know. I don't know if Russia is going to be a problem for Sweden or the exploding grenades inside Sweden is going to be a problem.
Boss, they've gotten, the number of immigrants they've gotten. They will. I was on a panel in Udaipur in this thing with a particularly dumb Greek fellow. And he's sitting next to me saying, oh, it's disinformation and the rise of the far right that's a problem. I'm like, BC, तूने देखा है कितने illegal immigrants आ रहे हैं तेरे में? Have you seen what has happened to every time I open Greek City Times? There is some immigrant murder or rape that's happened in
Yeah.
Athens or some part of Greece every single day. वो तेरे को दिख नहीं रहा है ना? What is it in reaction to? So, these people, I've never seen a bunch who think they are genuinely enlightened and individualists like the Europeans, who are in fact the biggest hive mentality chutias around.
Yeah, especially that lady. What's her name? I Ursula von der Leyen. Oof.
See, Ursula von
Piece
der
of
Leyen
art.
is dumb. She's
a piece
dumb.
of art. Yeah. She's a piece of art. I mean, she's even piece of art than Kamala Harris.
She's a piece of bad art.
Oof. I just don't know how she even survives. How she gets up in the morning. Viral, thank you so much once again. Abhijit, do you think if there is any retaliation, escalation by Iran against Damascus strike by Israel?
Yeah, I think there will be. It's almost certain now that something will have to happen. Because remember, they didn't hesitate hitting back against America when they bumped off
But that was
Soleimani.
Milli Bhagat. Yeah, they literally told them, "Hum yahan marenge, tum jara thoda side ho jao," and all that. That's what the Iranians do, and that's what the Americans also do.
Right,
Wink,
but
wink.
see, and that's what makes it dangerous because they have no communications with the Israelis. Unlike
That's
the Americans, where they have back channel communications where they can tip off people about certain things. I
Switzerland.
don't know what the Israelis were thinking doing this. Because it's one thing poking the Iranians, but to hit diplomatic property is a whole different. There's a whole load of international law implications to it. Huh? So I don't know, but kuch to hone wala hai, boss. The Iranians are going
Netanyahu
to
was in an operation and they bombed the embassy. Netanyahu was having a stomach operation, no?
कुछ तो था, medical procedure था कुछ.
Yeah, Kartikeya Pound, thank you so much for your contribution. He says, you guys say Shanti Doots will not reach 30% of the population due to problems. Do you have any idea on that? If they do, will it be bad for India?
What is Shanti Doots?
Or the other side of the line? The peacefuls.
Oh, okay. Yes. You have a lot of data. There is massive infertility in that population.
Mm-hmm.
The inbreeding is so chronic.
It will go up and it will come down like that as well.
People don't realize this, boss.
Yep.
India in Pixels tweeted out that map of inbreeding across India. The southern states, the north is the least. The southern states are by any standard insane. Pakistan is insane to the next level. There is not a single state of Pakistan that is not in the red. Forget red, they're in deep dark red. They're in vermilion crimson territory. Okay. So it's actually, people don't realize this. And what Modi is doing, he's done something very, very smart. He's giving them education. He's giving them this thing, all of which are known to postpone the breeding age and things like that.
Aspiration.
Yeah.
Especially
So
the
the
women.
cycles also change. So, what happens in Europe is that an average European woman is getting married at around 32, 33. If that, at least they're giving birth only at 32, 33. Now, infant survival rates are much higher if you start producing when you're about 15, 16, 17. The age of consent is 16, but technically, immediately after your periods, if you start producing kids, those kids are the healthiest. Okay. Now, in Europe, what is happening is the European population there, first, the rate itself is low. Many people are choosing not to produce kids. Second, they're producing it at a very late age. Whereas the immigrant population is producing it at the normal 15, 16. Sometimes they'll fake their documents and they'll actually be 13, 14 and things like that. But maybe 16, 17, 18 may produce kar rahe hain. By the time, and they're producing 2, 3 kids. So by the time Europe has produced 1 kid, non-European Europe has already produced 2 cycles of 2, 3 kids. So you don't compare just birth rate, you also compare birth cycle and age of pregnancy.
Interesting.
Okay. In India, it is quite uniform. The age of pregnancy is quite uniform. Localized rate of community reproduction may be higher, but that doesn't represent reducing fertility in that community. And the problem is, precisely because of reducing fertility in the community, they are doubling down on their practices of inbreeding and refusing to go for medical help. Because why do you think during COVID, sui nahi lagayenge? Because they think the government is trying to sterilize them.
Sad. Aviral, once again, thank you so much. Do you see Balochis and Talibanis fight together against Pakistan? Future of CPEC. CPEC is
No,
bad.
and I
Rest
don't know
you'll
why
answer.
a whole load of northern Balochistan is technically greater Afghanistan. There's a huge Pashtun population out there.
Quetta.
Quetta is a Pashtun city for all effects and purposes, right? So CPEC ka वैसे भी, I mean, this has nothing to do with the Balochis and Talibanis, but places like Gwadar, Hamban, Tota, CPEC, they're all stillborn projects. I think we've pointed this out well enough. I think everybody has pointed this out now. Where is the business case for this? Zero. Land transport, for the things you want to land transport, that kind of land transport has never made sense.
Yeah, I will just take 2-3 questions more. Just to add to what you're saying, by the way, the Baloch and the Taliban, the Pashtuns have had a deal on Quetta, and the Baloch has agreed to kind of back off of Quetta. They've said, fair enough, this is a Pashtun city, but help us out fight this.
ये जो tribal agreements होते हैं ना, ये tribal agreements are like
time period.
They're like Western marriages. They have an extremely high divorce rate.
Yeah. अभी वो पाकिस्तान को ठोकेंगे, उसके बाद आपस में बाद में लड़ेंगे. MPC, once again, thank you so much. You had suggested, I have studied Zen Technologies Hyderabad and their simulators. Should they create a much better and cheaper immersion with VR goggles?
The VR goggle immersion is actually fantastic. I don't think it's displayed on their site, but I've gone and seen it. It is fantastic. So you should go check it out.
Amazing. I didn't know this. I'll check this out. Thought provocator, thank you so much.
Yeah.
Ask AIM, when is Putin using nukes post Prigozhin? Prigozhin?
Prigozhin? Why are you bringing up Prigozhin here?
I know. Just leave the Prigozhin. Let's talk about the nukes.
Prigozhin to mar gaya.
Well, there are stories that he's in Africa. I don't know, man. These Russians are too bloody
I
difficult to
mean,
understand.
boss, you don't rebel against Putin and live. Let's be clear about this.
That's true.
तो ये साला 2 कौड़ी का चूतिया जो था अभी जेल में मरा था कौन एन्यूरिज्म
Navalny.
से
Oh, yeah,
हाँ
he took $200 million from the CIA. I mean,
वो
that was well
वो
proved.
तो वो तो सस्ता चूतिया था उसको ही मार डाला Prigozhin who actually did a bhagwa on Moscow you think Putin will let him live what world are you living on so no but why will Prigozhin post use nukes
No, no,
see this
Putin
is
used
a war
nukes.
of
Prigozhin, cut
attrition
the Prigozhin off.
this is a war of attrition it's an old Soviet tactic which they're using again they allow you to expend everything you have on them till complete battle fatigue sets in which, if you remember, is what Stalin did with Hitler. He allowed the offensive to continue for a whole year, Barbarossa to continue for a whole year,
Yep.
where they expended everything, extended their supply lines, complete fatigue set in.
Then
And
they
then
went.
all the divisions assembled east of the Urals at that point were then thrown into the fight, which is why the Soviet throwing back of the Germans was just as rapid.
Yep.
Okay. They took heavy losses. They took much heavier losses than the Germans.
That's
And
because of
again,
tactics. That's because of
but
battle tactics.
tactics. It was also technology. So very
Hmm.
interestingly, this. I thought they would have learned from all of this. So there was no way a T-34 could hit a tiger head up and win that battle. So what they used to do was hug the enemy. They'll very quickly they lose about 100 tanks coming near the tigers, but then they'll keep sitting near the tigers. They literally shadow the tigers so nobody else could hit you for fear. A tiger couldn't protect another tiger for fear of hitting the tiger. And these two T-34s per or two or more per tiger would literally be hubcap to hubcap with them and keep shooting shells there till you finally penetrated the shells.
Not
Okay.
bad. They found a way.
Fantastic. They found a way. They found a way to overcome quality, which is why Stalin said, quantity has a quality all of its own.
Of its own.
The more important thing was with this thing with the tiger. Twice the number of tigers were destroyed by their own crews than the T-34 shot.
Yeah.
Because they were destroyed because of mechanical failure. They were so badly over-engineered.
They couldn't take the mud.
There you go.
They got
So
stuck in Ukraine. The Battle of Kursk and all that stuff, they got stuck really badly.
The Pripyat marshes killed them.
Yeah. The Battle of Kursk was...
Yeah.
I mean, that's my favorite battle of the Second World War. And it was like near miss for both the sides, but Germans just could not sustain
that entire sequence from Stalingrad through to Kursk and everything, that's such a
beautiful.
I think the most defining battles we've ever seen, period. We've never seen tank battles of that size ever again.
Yeah, that was the largest ever.
That was
the largest ever. After that, it's what the one that happened in
अच्छा सुनो मेरे को भागना है 5 मिनट में
last one. Last question. How to deal with foreign stooges in academic structure? Do you think the advice as a consultancy still matters to GOI, R Square? Do we have any other alternatives? If not, how can we do so?
See, for dealing with these stooges, you need social intelligence. Social intelligence, I'm not talking about me being intelligent. I'm talking about intelligence as in CIA, MI6. And it's social intelligence to know what this person's precedent is, who can be allowed to be given tenure, who not, who needs to be kicked out, etc., etc. Which I don't think the government has the capability for. So, no. See, their problem is that on one hand, while one section of the leadership craves Western validation, the other section believes that the English-speaking people are completely alienated and they don't matter. Partially true, partially not. Because large parts of the Hindi population that suffer from the same inferiority complex that one part of the BJP leadership suffers, which is the validation of the English-speaking people, they get influenced by all these shits.
Mhm.
and I think they will be the biggest problem. सांप को उगने मत दो. ये सांप लोग, I shouldn't say that about snakes. Snakes are very sweet creatures, at least they're very good creatures. मच्छरों को उगने मत दो. What
Yeah,
do you think?
yeah. Most of these guys have been placed and for these particular purposes, and they're kind of
I
living
really
out
have to run
this thing.
now.
Yeah,
I really have to
absolutely.
run.
Thank you so much for joining in. Just stay back. I just want to talk to you for a second before you kind of.
I'll talk to you later, Adi, because I
Okay,
really
I'll
my
text you. I'll text you. I'll text you. Thank you so much, guys. And before you sign off, please like the video, subscribe to the channel, and most importantly, spread the word about Dev Talks. I shall see you tomorrow with the early morning update. Jai Hind, Jai Bharat.